Do you think college football teams should be required to release injury reports? We'll talk about this and a little bit more. Before we get into it, make sure you like this video if you like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my exclusive Clemson content I put out every single week. And don't forget to follow me over on the other social media accounts. So there was some discussion today from Brett McMurphy. He released a quote from Billy Napier. I'll bring that up on the screen here real quick, where it says, quote, from Florida's Billy Napier, Florida Gators, he says he favors schools releasing an injury report. It says, quote, if it was standardized, you would see all types of strategy, releasing injury info. As far as legalized sports gambling, Napier said it's made the game more popular. So I wanted to get into that in this video. Before we do, I wanted to talk about my DraftKings league that we're starting up this season. If you're not familiar with it, it's in the description on the YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's free to join. It's just my DraftKings league where we're going to do paid games and free games in there during the college football season. So I'd love to have you join. So go ahead and get in now. I'm already doing some Formula One stuff and some other things as well. So we just want to have a good time with it. Also, if you're not already, make sure you're a member of the 110% Club, only 99 cents a month, and you can get some really cool badges that I made. I know you'll love it. Oh, and some emojis too. But let's get into the actual subject as well, which is the injury reports and the thoughts from Billy Napier of the Florida Gators, talking about standardizing it so you could see exactly what players are going to play. Now, there are some pros and cons for this. I think transparency is the biggest thing, for fans of each team and the media, and honestly, in a negative way, maybe even the opposing team can see exactly what's going on with your players. It would help with fantasy football, which, is kind of a struggle right now to take hold, just like NFL fantasy football is. And the same thing I think he's talking about with betting, is it's a little bit of a struggle there because you really don't know. You're already worried about who you're going to be playing, and the fact that you don't play these teams every single year, and the rosters are completely different versus, the NFL every single year. So one of those things would be helping with consistency, and one of those things being the injury report. I know, again, fans and media would have more access to information about the health of players and lead to more informed decisions, specifically about what to expect from the game, not only in fantasy football, but as Billy Napier mentioned, in betting, which ultimately could make the game more popular nationally. Another thing I could see where it could be a pro would be in fairness to the teams, not being able to gain an unfair advantage by sitting here toying with the fact of who you're going to see on the field. Now, I know from a Dabo Swinney perspective, he likes to hang on to what the injury report is and really not release it until, I think, Saturday morning. So he waits until the very last minute to release any kind of information, which, in my opinion, I think from a coaching standpoint and a competitive standpoint, I think that's a good thing, because you don't really want to give your opponent, an advantage of knowing who to prepare for, especially like if you have two quarterbacks, for example, or if you're Florida, for example, right now you may have no quarterbacks or no kickers or no wide receivers. Who knows what their situation is going to be in 2023, but I think you could really kind of go either way on competition. I mean, you could say that it would help competition because the other team would be able to prepare more specifically for the players that are going to be on the field. But then you could say it hurts competition because it gives too much information out there, and the teams are too aware of what's going on. Kind of takes away from that gamesmanship, if you will. Another thing, I think from a player's perspective, is that it really kind of helps fans and media and medical members and the bigger picture, maybe even when they get into a situation where they might eventually need a union, which I think, we could go down that path, but player safety is a big deal for sure. And the information about players' injuries and what they're dealing with and what they're possibly playing through could help the player really getting that out in the public and being able to kind of back them up with why they are playing or are they not playing, what they're playing through or not. Again, a lot of thoughts in there. I put it up on Twitter as well. I know the time's coming up here. Jeff gets in on over on Twitter, says no, it's their job to concern themselves with bettors. It's not their job to concern themselves with bettors or what the other team knows. It's not their business to know. That's why Dabo does the way he does. Gray gets in and says, counterpoint, wouldn't that require enforcing the reporting data too? For example, I imagine nearly all injured players might just be listed as quote unquote questionable. Consequently, I quit fantasy football mostly because it became an injury curse by just picking guys to do well. So I can see that too. It would help fantasy football, it would help betting. But then again, you could see even more gamesmanship by just labeling everyone questionable, which really, what does that really tell you? And then Walt, my best friend over on 105.5 The Roar, gets in and says, LOL, all the college coaches' heads would explode. So no. Interesting comments from my friends out there on Twitter. If you haven't already followed me on Twitter, make sure to do so at The Morgan T Show. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the video as well. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to get your opinion and about the topic of injury reports in college football.